What happens if you have not planned it, if you've done nothing to prepare for it, or worse still, when you die without loved ones who are actually going to piece the whole mess, because it is a mess when you die usually. There's so much. I mean, we all live lives with, different accounts and different mortgages and different rents and different kids and all this sort of stuff that needs to be sorted out. Well, Evie King is a council funeral officer, and she organises the funerals of those without family or money, and says end-of-life planning can actually make your life happier. And it will definitely help those you leave behind. My mother was amazing. Everything was sorted. I just couldn't believe it. She literally sorted everything. It was so neat. She'd put everything in a brown envelope. Anyone that's going to have to sort out my mess, well, God help you. That's all I can say. Let's speak to Evie, though, because she'll have a lot to say on this. Hello, Evie.
Hello there, your mother is my hero.
Well, she was amazing. But I've been reading about this thing called... You'll probably know more about. Is it called death cleaning?
Yes.
Yes, it's death. So just explain to people listening what death cleaning means.
It's lightening your space by getting rid of all the bits of stuff that you've been keeping just in case, and duplicates and junk that we sort of accumulate in the attic and think we'll clear that out one day. But what will happen is the person who'll have to clear that out will be the person grieving you or a house clearance service, but one or the other, someone's going to have to move that stuff along. So it's good for you in the here and now, because I did a massive death clean on myself, and now I can see the things I kept that I cherish, and I don't have to pick things up and dust all the time.
And also, Evie, you're really...
other people's lives.
It does, and you're young. It's not like you're in your final chapters. You are young, and you've already started to do it. When I was at school, we had a DS teacher, domestic science, I don't think there even is such a thing now, who used to go, clear as you go, muddle makes muddle. And I think that's how we should live our lives, because we do all live in a muddle, don't we?
Definitely. And it's a muddle, like you said, when you're introducing me, of lots of different things, of possessions and of relationships that aren't easily traceable, and of accounts and subscriptions and things that are in pin-locked phones or just in your head. So if you don't leave a nice trail of breadcrumbs, we're all going to be running around in circles for many months, maybe a year or two. And so it really is an act of love to leave instruction, to leave something behind.
It really is. I have a friend who has been power of attorney to two of her friends who, like me, so I'm a single woman without children, and so I have to organise who is going to sort everything out for me, and she was chosen by two of her friends, and she was power of attorney. But it went on and on and on, because even though they'd appointed her, their house was not in order. And I mean, I said, this is taking up most of your life, having to sort this out.
Yes, I mean, if you've organised that much, but you haven't left them a clear set of instructions, you've only done not even half the job. So it has to be a full audit of everything. And that's what I'm trying to give people in my book, the ability to, basically, I've packaged everything I have learned and done it for you so that you can see what you need to do and then take the action at the end of each chapter. So hopefully just help people, because it's overwhelming. I think that's why people don't do it. There's a lot to it, and I don't blame them. They want to live their life. They don't want to think about being dead. That's not fun. And it's admin, and that's not fun either. So I can understand it, but I'm hoping I've packaged it in a way that's manageable and kind of fun in some places, weird to say, but also just a friendly guide as well, so that we can all just relax into it and see it for what it is, which is a way to reflect as well.
We have to say, before people think, oh God, this is a bit of a morbid Saturday night, we need to say you are also a stand-up. So you have mixed humour with this. And I think the trouble is we all see death as something that is so to be brushed under the carpet. We're so terrified of it. And I think that's half the reason we don't plan. We avoid stuff. We don't want to look it in the face. I love the fact that you've combined humour with death, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. Everyone who works in death, you'll find, isn't being glib, isn't being, disrespectful, but they have to live with that sort of lightheartedness because they've got to carry everyone else through this hard time. So, and they get very pragmatic, and with pragmatism comes the ability to be sort of lighthearted about things. Lighthearted is not even the right word, I think. Just you can see and appreciate the humor in things and the absurdity in things because death's no less absurd than life. It's just a change of status. It still involves the stories of people, and that's why you'll get laughs at funerals. People are always laughing at funerals. There's always a funny story. It's
and
life
eager
and
to
death
laugh. You're dying to laugh. You
yes,
so
make
want
me laugh.
someone to do a eulogy that's going to make you laugh, don't you?
Yes, and equally, I find that people really want to talk about death. There's this mythology, and it's kind of semi-true because people don't talk about it, but it's a group thing that we're not talking about it. But when you actually give people permission, they can't wait. They look really relieved and they want to talk about all their worries and what the things that have happened in their life. And when I'm at a wedding or a party and I say what I do, people are with me all night asking for more stories,
I bet they are. Is there such a thing as a pauper's funeral? Because I went to someone's funeral. He was a big issue seller local to where I live, and he died, and there was only me and one other person went to his funeral, and it was I live in London, and there's a graveyard in London that's quite famous actually. You'll know more about this. For council funerals, I think that's what they're called. Is it when there's no one that can actually? So he arrived in a white van. His coffin was in a white van. I know. It was brilliant. And there was just us. There was me and one other woman who we used to, he was called Gary, and we were so fond of him. Everyone locally knew him, and it was amazing because there was a vicar, and this one woman and I, and the vicar just said, "Look, there's just the three of us. So should we just talk about what we remember about Gary, who was hysterical?
Yes.
Gary was hysterical, actually, and he would have loved the fact it was just two women there for him. To be honest, Evie, it was probably one of the best funerals I'd ever been to.
I was thinking as you were talking, I've been to funerals in my personal life that have been more formal and stuffy and not as satisfying as going to the ones for the people who I deal with, who have had interesting lives outside of the tracks sometimes. And we have to be honest, we can't do that thing where we whitewash everything, say, weren't they lovely? We have to say they were a bit difficult, or we have to acknowledge the lost stories or the broken relationships, but in a nice way. It's kind of rounded, and you get to do like different rituals, like with the white van. Someone can have a very specific thing to them, and everyone is so different that their life gets reflected in that ritual. We had a gardener whose garden club friends were the only people that were there for him, had watered his allotment all summer to make sure it didn't die, then brought all those flowers for his coffin topper. So there's beauty in these funerals, and they're not depressing.
Yes. No, not at all.
Yeah. And we don't call them paupers anymore. We try, I do the training, the national training for the job.
Right.
And I always say, call it what you're doing, not whom you think you'll be doing it to.
Yes.
So it's a council assisted, it is public health, it is, a welfare funeral. We don't judge the people. And about 99 times out of 100, there's no pauper involved. It's someone who's got no one to enact, but plenty of money. So
really?
It would be wrong anyway.
So interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So, I mean, are there people who literally die and the money what is I honestly, rhetorical, but the money just goes straight to the state then?
It can do. If you've got no next of kin, and it's very unusual, you'd have to be an only child of only children with no children, which has happened. And I have given people's houses in that scenario to the government, which pains me deeply.
Oh my God, yes.
And if you're in the Duchy of Lancaster, it'll go to King Charles. And if you're in the Duchy of Cornwall, it'll go to Prince William, who also gets shipwrecks, first dibs on shipwrecks. I am saying that sentence in 2026, yeah. So that pains me. So that's another reason I want people to make a will. But yeah, in a lot of cases, what we'll do is we'll put a trace and we'll find that second cousin who didn't even know they existed, and you'll get that phone call that we all want.
Yes,
So
yes.
you just got a cool £1 million or something,
I
So
love
don't
the
lose hope.
fact. Sorry, I love the fact Prince William gets first dibs on shipwrecks.
Oh yeah,
It's just such a
He's down the shore with his eyes open, looking.
What happens? Now we're all so digital, and a lot of people have a presence on social media. What happens? Does that get wiped, or is it up there forever?
I mean, digital, it helps me in some ways, but it's locked a lot of things away from me and others. So it helps me find people with their online profiles, but they're online profiles. But if you don't have an account manager, so if you're on Apple, there's an inactive account manager for that. And if you're on Google, some sort of Android, there's an inactive account manager for that you nominate in life. And then if you don't access that account within set amount of months, it will email that person so they can enter everything. And then you can leave behind in a digital will what you want done with them. Do you want them memorialized? Do you want them mothballed? Do you want them closed? Do you want to be deleted?
Good Lord.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
I think how long it's taken me to get to where I am. The thought of, I want it there forever.
Yeah, it'd be your memorial.
Yes. Heavens say, every single subscriber I've worked so hard for. I'd certainly
Historians
don't want it
can study.
Yes, exactly. Would you, I'm really intrigued by this because, like weddings, funerals have always, up until recently, they've had a recipe. Do you know what I mean? Or choreography to them. There's the eulogy. There's the music that people sit and listen to when they're walking in and when they're leaving and everything else. That's almost now being thrown out, hasn't it? I mean, as you said, there's still some quite formal funerals, but it does seem. I mean, I remember. My mother was appalled if people wore colour to a funeral. So I specifically wore black to hers because she just thought that was respectful,
Yeah.
But most people now say, they have it written down, please don't wear black. No flowers, don't wear black.
I've made a really comprehensive funeral menu in the funeral sections for this about what we're wearing, a pattern, neon, a different, are we wearing outfits? Are we doing cosplay? Because there's so many things you can actually do. And I know it sounds weird to try and get people inspired by their funeral, but actually I've had people message me on the back of the book and say, oh, thanks, now I want my funeral 25 different ways, because there's so much you can do. And there's a really good undertaker called Rue Callender. He wrote a book called What Remains. And one of the funerals he did, because he just wipes the slate and says, not what are we doing on the set menu, what are we doing? And this son just sat by his mother's open grave and finished reading her the book he was reading her in hospice.
Oh my God.
There you go. That's a funeral.
God, how wonderful.
So I just want people to say, what do I want?
Oh, yes.
Instead of a eulogy, should we do bingo? Should we do a pub quiz?
Can you imagine doing bingo? Wouldn't that be brilliant?
Yes, party bags at the end.
You're so right. We've drifted, it's all so morbid, isn't it? And at least now we say we're celebrating a life. But
yes, we're getting to that stage.
That's a recent admission, isn't it? Because it never was the case. This is from Sue in Tunbridge Wells, who's listening in a text. Hi there, I've recently redone my will, single, no children. And whilst doing that, I've noted that I'd like for my funeral service a resume of my life that folks may not know about. Also, details of all my utility suppliers, banking, charities that I support. Now it's done and dusted. I mean, as you say, this takes us back to the beginning. It means you live a happier life.
Yes, you can just close that book. Literally, I've got a kitchen cupboard of death. I've closed it. It's in there. People can find it. I've got a list of my accounts, my subscriptions, my contact numbers to phone, where my car is parked, because I've spent hours walking around looking for central locking lights to go off,
Never
and
think
all
of
of my papers. Exactly. I've got things in the book that funeral experts who I sent it to said I hadn't thought of that. Not because they're not I'm better than them, but because I've done such the minutiae of this through the job. I'm there from the point of the person's death to getting their medical certificate, their registration, doing their SADMIN, getting all of the funeral booked, getting the ashes dealt with, right through to handing the estate over. So I've seen every little bit of the process, and I know what's a problem if it's missing and what's a bonus if we've got it. So
I
I've
think
put it
this
all
is
into
amazing.
this book.
Okay, so everybody's waiting for the title. The title is called Get Ahead of Being Dead. It's a great read. It's published by Octopus.
Thank you.
And we have been speaking to the wonderful author of the book, Evie King. Evie,
Thank you.
what a fabulous discussion. Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. Thanks.